Welcome back, adventurers, to Let's Play ChäoS. In the last episode, Yasuji-ban and Suwa went back to the alleyway in which the staking murder had taken place, although calling it that is probably, again, a misnomer given the fact that that particular victim was strangled rather than killed by the stakes outright. But nonetheless, Ban seemed to have a somewhat of an unusual hunch, much to the chagrin of his junior partner. That being said, Ban's little hunch actually seemed to pay off, as he discovered some form of either electromagnetic or some sort of magnetic phenomenon in the alleyway, using a simple coin trick involving a string and a 500 yen coin, causing it to continually go in the shape of an ellipse. Of course, back here with Takumi, he is pretty much facing his own dilemma in the form of a delusion made manifest. That is his brief delusion of Ayase Kishimoto, also known as Fez, in one of Suume Academy's school swimsuits. A delusion that should not exist in reality, yet for some reason, here it is. Fez suddenly leapt to a completely unrelated topic. I thought she'd start treating me like I was a perv, but instead she disregarded it. And again, both the real Fez and the delusion Fez are speaking simultaneously. Did this have anything to do with the D-swords? If it didn't, I wasn't interested. I had to find some way of asking Fez how to acquire a real D-sword. However, Fez seems intent on giving her explanation.
Shibuya.
The two Fez spoke, well, Fezzes. Anyway, they spoke at precisely the same time, their voices coming from behind me and in front of me. Impeccable synchronization. It put me in a peculiar frame of mind somehow. Had Fez split in half? Or were both of them the real Fez? Or were both of them imposters? No. The Fez currently dressed in her iconic outfit, holding the D-sword, is the true Ayase Kishimoto. This one here is the one that Takumi dreamt up. Actually, come to think of it, I'm starting to be of the same frame of mind as Takumi here. And that is, this is all well and good, but this doesn't necessarily relate to New Gen or the D-swords. Why, you ask? Because I didn't care either way. Could be for many reasons. Well, then that begs the question, what is the right answer? The two Fezzes left a momentary pause. I grew uncomfortable at the thought that they were watching me from both the front and the back, both standing on either end of the underpass.
大いなる意志よ。高次存在。もっとわかりやすく言えば、神による意志なの。
You know, for a second there, I almost thought you were going to say it's the choice of Steins Gate, but then I've remembered that this is ChäoS Head. This is bad, my reason warned me. Could this mean? Maybe she was trying to lure me into a sketchy cult religion. I started to panic. Maybe it would be better to run away and run straight into whoever is actually probably still following us unless they've hopefully given up the ghost. But when I heard Fez's next words, that ceased to be an option.
理想度もまた、その意志による導きよ。
But again, the question remains, how exactly does this phenomenon pertain to us? And how is it manifested? And again, a very slow transition back to Ban and Sua.
引力ってあるだろ
Hmm. Ban seems to think there's some sort of gravity distortion here. Interesting. Ban returned to the main road from the alley and began walking in the direction of Shibuya Station, just trying to determine where exactly these pocket areas of this curious phenomenon are taking place. Sua, who had assumed they were going to Shinsen next, grimaced as he followed in Ban's wake. He seems really eager to keep tabs on Takumi.
万有引力のことっすか？
The law of universal gravitation. Once again, I can't tell you what it is.
よく知ってるじゃねえの。さすがいい大学出てるだけあるな。
Seems that Sua is a very studious detective. Sua grew downcast at Barnes' faintly jesting tone, although to be fair he was actually giving you a compliment.
あいにく大学じゃオカルトは勉強しなかったっすけどね。
オカルトじゃねえよ。
No, as Barnes so eloquently proved, this phenomenon is curiously real.
世界には引力がアンバランス化してる地域ってのが何か所かある。
アンバランス化っすか。
振り子が楕円を描いたのもその影響ってこった。GE レートって呼ぶらしい。
G rate. Yeah, we heard that before from the sanitation cleaners who weren't sanitation cleaners. A bunch of shady-looking, dark-suited men who were also observing these particular pocket phenomena, or whatever it is.
GE レート。
正式名称は何だっつってたかな。グルバケーション、グラリッション、
Yeah, because this is Japanese, Barn is having a hard time remembering just what the actual name of it is.
引力ならグラビテーションじゃないっすか？グラビテーションエラーレート。
おー、そうそう、それだ。
So G stands for gravitation error.
グラビテーションエラーレート。
Well, at least now we know what this strange phenomenon is actually called.
直訳すると、万有引力の異常値すか。
物理学の辞典を調べりゃ載ってるはずだぜ。
載ってたっすかね。
G rate. An imbalance in the law of universal gravitation. Looks like Barn is also very studious in his own right. Discovered by Isaac Newton, the law of universal gravitation is the fundamental force of nature that works between all substances and forms of energy, etc., which contain mass. At least they're explaining it for us here, so I don't have to look in the tips menu, because I can't read it. A number of strata found layered upon the Earth's surface are said to powerfully influence this law of universal gravitation. Lava beds are a representative example of places that induce local irregularities. The vast sea of trees that lies at the foot of Mount Fuji is a distinctive instance of this that compasses cease to function there. Researchers have already determined that fossil beds which contain particularly high levels of iron and calcium are another type of stratum wherein magnetism rebounds. Also, magnetite has an especially strong effect on gravitation. If naturally produced magnetite, an ore that crystallizes into regular octahedrons, were to be found beneath the Earth in a large enough quantity to merit recognition as a geological dike, such a scenario would indeed equate to the ground itself being formed of magnetite, resulting in an extremely high chance that trace deviations in gravitation would develop there. Although we still haven't fully explained just how it pertains to Shibuya and the new gen madness, but I'm pretty sure we will find that connection some point. G rate refers to the twisted local gravitational values found in areas containing the aforementioned strata. In other words, parts of Shibuya. Around the time when Barnes' explanation reached a stopping point, the two of them came out on the street by Dugan Hill. The scenery around them became bright and gorgeous all at once.
渋谷の平均 GE レートは世界でもトップクラスらしいぜ。
I think probably that's exactly the same thing that Ayase is trying to say to Takumi, albeit in more vague sort of terms.
地面に置いたボールが一人でに坂を登っていくようなケースもあるらしい。
マジっすか？
Sue had been listening silently up until this point, but now he showed his surprise a bit exaggeratedly.
まるで SF 映画の世界っすね。
お前の好きなな。
Now that was a sharp jab.
自分は小難しいのは嫌いっすよ。壮大なスケールの映画がいいっす。
Of course, Sue hopes to be a man of action. Of course.
知らねえよ。
先輩の説明はすごくもっともらしいっすけど、なかなか信じられないっすよ。GE レートなんて聞いたこともないっすし。
And yet, for some reason, you actually seem to know, or at least come up with some idea as to what it was
て
called.
めえの無知を一般論として語るな。デカに必要なのは事実を客観視することだぞ。
There's Barn playing the hard-nosed detective.
はあ。でも。
As Sue said, research pertaining to G rates was fairly minor in scale, and one certainly wouldn't hear of it but simply by graduating from a normal university. Barn himself hadn't known of it until a few weeks ago.
そもそもまだ肝心の答えを聞いてないっすよ。渋谷の重力がアンバランスだとなんで若者が引きつけられるんすか？
That seems to be the all-important question.
引力と人間ってのは意外と因果関係があるってことだよ。お前、生き物のバイオリズムは月の引力に関係してるっての知ってたか？
I seem to remember something along those lines myself.
潮の満ち引きだけじゃねえんだぜ。
ウミガメの産卵には月の影響があるらしいってのはどっかで耳にしたことがあるっす。
Of course, Sewer is going down a different track here.
ああ、必ず満月の夜に産卵するってやつだな。だがウミガメだけじゃねえ。他に有名なのだと、サンゴが産卵するのも満月の夜だ。
ああ、海の中が雪降ってるみたいになるやつっすね。
満月の夜は引力も強くなってるって科学的に実証されてんだ。
It does, huh? Interesting.
当然、人間にもその影響は及んでる。
And I wonder how this pertains to New Gen. Probably quite a bit.
人の出産にもってことっすか？
出産だけじゃねえよ。
And Barn once again being completely irritated by Sewer.
バイオリズムって言ったろ。普通の生理現象はもちろん、交通事故や事件、病気、食欲とか性欲とかにも密接なつながりがある。興奮すると頭に血が上ってるって言うだろう。あれは月の引力に引っ張られてるんだよ。
そりゃ極論だと思うっすよ。まるで個々の感情なんて関係なくて全部月のせいだって言ってるようなもんじゃないっすか。
That's not entirely it.
そこ
However,
までは言わねえがな。集団心理って言うだろう。この町に来た途端に楽しい気分になったり、ちょっと無茶したくなったりするかもしんねえんじゃねえの？
crowd psychology. It's probably an apt way of phrasing it.
ニュージェネの一連の事件に対する反応だってそうだ。
Now we're starting to get into the meat and grit of things. However, I think even Sewer is going to find it a bit of a stretch to tie together the G rate phenomenon with the New Gen incidents. Although there is a connection. It doesn't necessarily point us to who might actually be responsible for taking advantage of this phenomena.
この町でそのニュースを見た連中は大抵反応が同じだ。どいつもこいつも楽しんでやがる。自分だけは被害者にならないって気持ちだ。対岸の火事を眺めていい気になってる。
As morbid as it sounds, Barn does have quite the point there. That's pretty much exactly how a lot of people have been viewing these events as of late.
そういう集団心理も GE レートのせいってことっすか？
It's not the only cause, but it's certainly a cause.
可能性としてはありだろう。渋谷に来たら楽しい気分になるってのが若いやつらの頭の中に無意識にすり込まれれば、
若者がこの街に惹かれる理由になるってわけっすね。
As expected, Sewer was a quick study, Barn thought admiringly. He was still young, but this side of him was rather impressive. And what set him apart from other youngsters was how, instead of simply following his seniors, he argued back when he had doubts about something or found it peculiar. Although he knows enough just to stop short of insubordination, Probably something which Ban himself is probably guilty of with his own superiors.
GE レートについては一応分かったっすけど、それでどうやって犯人を探すんすか？
Yet again, Sewer asks another all-important question.
もし GE レートに影響されて今回みたいな事件が起きたってなら、何百年も前から似たようなことが起きてないと変なんじゃ。
そいつはこれから調べりゃいいさ。専門家がな。
Definitely quite unorthodox, given the way the investigations have been going thus far, but it's something that Ban cannot ignore.
先輩は調べないんすか？
俺はデカだぞ。
Ban smirked. In other words, he's only interested in hunting down leads and apprehending criminals. The scientific research he leaves to other more capable people.
調べるのはニュージェネのことだけだ。
Or maybe he already has somebody in mind.
そのために今日はわざわざ仕事サボって現場の GE レートを測ったんだ。
But of course, Ban admitting that he slacks off on his job from time to time isn't going to go over well with his peers.
もしこれまでの一連の現場の GE レートが異常を示したなら、何を意味すると思う？
It would definitely signify quite a bit. That is, if the higher-ups didn't think it was a waste of time.
まさか。
Of course, Sewer is beginning to piece together the dots. Eyes round, Sewer stopped in place. He appeared to have picked up on what Ban was trying to say.
事件は GE レートが異常を示している場所で起こるってことっすか？
In other words, places like the alleyway. And if that's the case, and the same pattern is true of all the crimes, then a reinvestigation of all the various crime scenes to measure G rates is certainly in order. Not much of a breakthrough, but it could be the one that they need.
だとしたら次の事件が起こる場所をある程度予測できるんすね。
That's a fanciful thought, but that's easier said than done.
まだそう決まったわけじゃねえよ。それをこれから調べんだ。
It's, well, predicting all the various G rate points in Shibuya might give an example. There is the chance that the next murder could occur in an area that doesn't have a high G rate, which could definitely throw things off the scent. However, there was something to this city, something unidentified, hidden in the depths behind its gaudy exterior. Maybe it was a Pandora's box that humans mustn't touch. A Pandora's box that clearly somebody is intending to open. So Ban thought to himself as he surveyed the people going down the road. This brings us back to where we left off with Fez just moments before. And we're going to leave off here again because this is the end of this episode of Let's Play Chaos Head. And when we return, adventurers, hopefully Fez can actually give a little bit more coherent clarification about the D-Swords and the strange phenomenon that brought about their existence. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.